Hello, everybody. This is your Zephyr Fawcett. This is JFI Radio Live. And bit of an effort to get on live this morning, but here I am, and welcome to my live broadcast. Each month, it's an opportunity for me to share with you some of my stories. Now, these stories can help you shape your own professional development. And well, I hope that my journey will resonate with some of you, whether it's relating to what you do at work, whether you do in business, maybe even in your downtime. This is what adaptive stewardship is about. Before you can even steward teams, projects, or in an organization, you have to steward yourself. And this isn't about being indulgent. It's the groundwork that you need to do as a human being, coping in an ever-changing and really, really, really fast AI-driven world. Well, I originally started JFI Radio in 2015. And, well, I've started doing it as I was traveling around the world. Back in those days, I was doing executive education events. I was speaking at business training, and I was doing teaching in universities, and I was doing work with global corporates. And 11 years later, yes, I am now one of, if not the longest continuously running podcast specializing in professional development in the UK, and who knows, maybe even the world. And ooh, that sounds so grand, but I'm going to put it out there, and you can do a Google search and see. There were some that started roughly around the same time as me in 2015. I think there was one that started in 2014, but they're no longer in existence. So yes, I'm going to lay claim to being the longest continuously running podcast in professional development. And I'm happy. You can prove me wrong if you want to. If you find someone else, please let me know. But you know what? I still love doing these lives as much as I ever did at the time. I started live, and then I went to pre-records, and then I did live again. Then I did video podcasts in between all of that. Just sharing stories of things that I enjoy in my professional world, in the hope that they'll land with you. Now, I've got two stories. I've changed the format of the live sessions, the live broadcasts, a little bit, because the global news now has a world and a story all of its own, and it features 2 weeks after this one. No, 10 days. 10 days, if I'm going to be absolutely precise. It features 10 days after this. So on the 17th of August will be the global news, which used to feature inside of these. Now it's just two stories plus, a trip over to Nigeria, to Port Harcourt, to Nkechi Kalu, who is the JFI Radio Africa correspondent. So 2 stories, 1 piece of JFI Africa live news. What else could you possibly want once a month here? Well, you may want lots of other things, but, stay with me, please. I'm really happy for you to stay with me. Let's talk about my first story, and it's all about the MBA. Now, I'm really lucky. I've spent 5 years working with GBSB Global, which is based in Barcelona, has a campus in Madrid, which I'll get to see for the first time in November this year. It operates out of Malta, and it also operates online from Zug in Switzerland. So it really covers quite a wide range area, and I love working with you all. Big shout out to my lovely tribe over in all of those places, in fact. And thank you. I can see someone online. Marianne, do you know what? I still don't know your name. Please, if you can, that's how it's popping up on the screen. Hi, thank you for listening to me live. please do tell me your actual first name, because your handle doesn't quite tell me who you are. And thank you also for showing up each and every month, which you're starting to do now and listening in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Big heart to you. So I was telling you about GBSB Global, and I was telling you about my if you like, my experiences over in GBSB Global. I'm just checking out on the socials. Yes, just socials. I'm live on LinkedIn. I'm live on Facebook. I'm live on YouTube. Great. And by the way, you can chat with me while I'm live. All you have to do, if you're listening on Facebook or if you're listening and watching on YouTube, you can type into the chat and it appears on the screen just like it did just now. And oh, there we are. I've got an answer. Mariana, one of your Mariana. Oh my goodness. Hi. One of my students. So you're going to know this story, aren't you, Mariana? Because it's all about GBSB Global. Hi. Oh, how lovely to have you join me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let me come back to my story about the MBA, which I think is exciting to talk about, because I spend a lot of the summer working on this special MBA mini module over the summer camp period. So all the other ones are over a proper 12-week period. This is like concentrated right into the January, and well, this July, I was doing all the same things. I was teaching on the mini MBA program, got 31 students. They're all doing it online. They're all doing it alongside their full life and trying to enjoy the summer as well, working, raising children, one with a baby who didn't sleep well during the live sessions, and they're a little bit half asleep, which is quite understandable. And they're from all over the world. So we're doing it across all different time zones, okay? Now that's stewardship for you. If we're going to pick up this key thing about stewardship, that's what it is. And it's not just mine. It's watching people hold down a job, a family, and do postgraduate study at the same time and still show up. They showed up twice in 4 weeks live across the time zones. I mean, some of them got up at 4 or 5 in the morning to do this. I mean, and some of them stayed up late at night because they are literally all over the world. And I'm grateful. And so what I try to do is give of my best when I'm teaching them. Now, one class in July, after the live class, I found out that this was the Barcelona group. So there's a Barcelona group and then there's an online worldwide group. And the Barcelona group were heading straight out to Barceloneta, to the beach, for the live music. And I was still sitting at my desk here in the UK. I won't pretend. I was a little bit jealous, but I have such happy memories of being over there in Barcelona and at Barceloneta Beach, for real, just a month earlier for the graduation of last year's students. But you know what? That stayed with me. That I suppose it's the discipline everyone has. When you're doing an online MBA, it is really the discipline and trying to stay with it and keeping on top of it. But alongside that, there's the other bit of discipline. If we stay with the stewardship bit for a moment, about closing your laptop after a full day and opening a different kind of energy altogether. And you know what it's like. I know those of you that listen to this either live or listen to it on the record afterwards, catching up. We all do it. We let our work life bleed into our home life, don't we? A little bit too often. And that's something to do with the fact that we are always on, with your mobiles, with a message comes through. If you're anything like me, I can't help myself. I get a message through and I respond to it almost immediately if I can. So shutting things down, having the discipline to shut things down and enter into a different space, whether it happens to be the Barceloneta beach over there and the live music or something else quieter that you're doing. That's what I call adaptive capacity. in real time. And it's not just a framework, it's about people getting on with things and giving themselves time. So that was my first story. And you know what? I'll have another one for you shortly, but it is that time again when I have to look at the dashboard and make sure I do this correctly. Going over to JFI Live Africa. And we're over to Nkechi in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, for her latest roundup of professional development. And she is our Africa correspondent. Listen, remember, you know that this is always live because there are loads of bloopers. And you know what? Quite frankly, I don't care. It's fine. She is our local voice with a pan-African reach. And what she does each month is bring latest news about emerging tech, about shifting economies, and the new opportunities that are reshaping the future of Africa's workforce. So please let me press a button and hope for goodness, fingers crossed, that we go straight over to Nkechi. Nkechi, are you there?
Hello, Josepha. Here's the news from Africa for August 2026. Africa moves to shape its digital future, building future capabilities through education, and how the private sector is driving job creation across the continent. Here's the news in details. African nations are taking bold steps to define their place in the global digital economy. At the African Telecommunication Union Summit in Abuja, Nigeria, representatives from 52 countries are drafting a unified digital strategy that will govern artificial intelligence, data privacy, and satellite communications across the continent. The framework covering 2027 to 2031 aims to expand affordable internet access, standardize AI deployment, and ensure cross-border data protection. Nigeria, as host, is positioning itself as a hub for continental collaboration. Another encouraging development comes from UNESCO's Artificial Intelligence for East Africa Community Innovation Challenge. Nearly 1,000 university students from 8 East African countries spent 6 months developing AI-powered solutions for real-world challenges in education, healthcare, agriculture, and employment. Instead of learning AI only in theory, students built practical tools designed to solve local problems, demonstrating a growing emphasis on innovation-led education. This reflects an important shift in African education, from preparing students for examinations to preparing them for the future workplace. Finally, for today, Africa's employability push is shifting from traditional job creation to future-ready skills development. Building future capabilities through education. Private sector firms like Safaricom in Kenya is expanding its digital academy. They are training 10,000 youths annually in coding and fintech, while Flutterwave in Nigeria is partnering with universities to embed fintech courses into curricula, creating employability pathways in payment and e-commerce. With big tech partnership and grassroots programs, the continent is building a workforce that can thrive in AI, cloud, fintech, and renewable energy sectors. That is it from Africa. That is it from the African continent. My name is Nkechi Kalu, JFI Radio Africa correspondent.
Out there. Do you know what? I'm just so pleased to hear you. And yeah, you had a blooper or two as well. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Why would it? You know, there are so many polished pieces of recordings that are going out on the internet these days, I think it's nice for us to have a little bit of rough round the edges pieces. It's perfectly fine. And Nkechi, thank you so much, so much. It is wonderful to hear from you, and I hope that you're well. What about my second story? Well, the second story I want to bring you is about staying with the stewarding idea, the stewardship idea, and about stewarding myself, really. July was an interesting month. It was only part work and then part play, and it was a birthday. It's a birthday month here in the Fawcett household. It's my birthday, it's my daughter's birthday, it's my husband's birthday, and then a few weeks later into August, it's my son's birthday. And we have quiet times on birthdays. We try and do things all together as much as we can. But my son lives up north, north of England, so we don't always get to see him on a birthday. And guess what? Guess what? He turned up. Oh my goodness, James, big shout out to you. Now, those of you that really follow me on the socials, you'll have heard James, you'll have seen James, because he does the trailers for the global news. And so that's where you see him. And he just turned up out of the blue, no warning, nothing. Outside we were eating a little bit of supper, and then suddenly there's a ring on the doorbell, and it was him. He had just driven hundreds of miles. I have to check out how many hundreds of miles it is, all the way down from Leeds, just to surprise me on my birthday. I love surprises, and it was a fantastic surprise. James, big heart to you as well. Thank you so much for doing that. And the reason I mention it is, if I'm talking about stewarding for myself, it is about taking time during those summer months to recalibrate who you are and have some energy and have some time with family and have some time with friends. I'm still thinking about the Barceloneta beach, etc. And of course, alongside all of this, as many of you are experiencing, there is this crazy heat wave. I was talking to my lovely colleague, Adela, from Eurofortis, based in both Latvia and in Austria. And I was talking to her from Vienna yesterday, and she was saying it's like 40 degrees over there at the moment, and having to turn her computer off. Yes, I've had to turn my computers off during the July heat wave. It's a bit cooler today, but during the heat wave, I had to turn it off and properly step away from it. So big shout out to you, Adela, to Eurofortis, and talking to you very, very soon about some things we have planned. But you know what? Turning things off, stopping things, taking time for you as often as you can is important. It's important just to pause. We don't do that a lot in business. We don't pause. We're on this treadmill constantly. So I went out into the back garden, and I go out in the mornings now, particularly before it gets unbearably hot, and just sit there with the morning sun before the day actually starts, so it asks anything of me, listening to the birds singing. Now, you might think that none of that's actually productive in the way that we usually mean productive. But I mean it when I say that we don't stop enough. We go from meeting to meeting to meeting, whether we're in the office physically, whether we're at home and working from home. We need a bit of personal love and care, because it helps us be better stewards for the people that we care for in business. It is stewardship, choosing what to protect in terms of your time, in terms of your equipment, in terms of your capacity. A few quiet moments before the noise gets, well, unbearably loud. This is what is necessary. We need to take some time out for ourselves. And if there's one takeaway from this particular live, it's very, very much about thinking about yourself as much as thinking about others. Adaptive stewardship, it's not about how you show up for other people all the time. It's about turning things off, your brain off, before it breaks you. Sometimes it's a birthday, sometimes it's a surprise, sometimes it's a visit, or just 20 minutes away from your desk before the heat comes. Steward yourself first, please. Everything else gets easier after that. It's easier to look after your people. It's easier to look after your teams when you've started to look after yourself. There you go. That's the message. Now, I'll be back again in September, and that broadcast will be coming to you live on Friday, the 9th of September, I think it is, from Athens. And I will be, the week before, I'll have been over in Dubai podcasting at the amazing Mental Health conference. There'll be some details of all of that in the show notes. And then I'll be podcasting also while I'm in Athens with Gelly. So shout out to Gelly. Hi there, Gelly. We're going to be doing some recording for my new conversations. Oh, hold on. I can see. Oh, how lovely. Thank you, Mariana. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my birthday was in July. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. That's my secret. But let's just say I'm 55 again. I decided long time ago that I was going to stop at 55. So Mariana, thank you very much for my birthday wishes. But I'm 55 again and again and again and again. And do you know what? I like being 55 each and every year. So back to Gelly, back to the recording we're going to do about open educational resources and if you ever want to, just pop into the JFI Radio website, go to the tab at the top that says conversations, and you can find out all about the seasonal conversation. So Gelly, get ready. We're going to be talking OER, open educational resources, for the autumn series, which is going to be so much fun. The summer series launches in a few weeks' time, and that's all about the quantum era. So there's a lot going on in JFI Radio. Remember, in 10 days from today, there'll be the global news as well. And they're nearly recorded. They're nearly ready for publication. Podcast Pearls. You get your CPD here in JFI Radio with my Podcast Pearls. So, but more about that in another one. I have to do some plugs because I don't take sponsorship from any large companies. So I'm gonna sponsor myself and promote some of the things that I'm doing, just to let you know. I'll have lots of lovely professional development stories and stewardship stories to share with you next month. And as ever, thank you for taking the time live or for taking the time to listen to this after, when you have got an opportunity to. And remember, take care of yourself. I look forward to seeing you next month.